Hey guys, so I'm back with another Mysteriously Savage segment. I hope you guys enjoyed the first one. I have no idea if you did or not because I have not uploaded it yet. But yeah, doesn't matter because I'm gonna just keep this train moving. I got 3 more to go, and today I am back with the second. Today's story is going to be about the Jamison family. If you are into true crime, especially ones that are shrouded in mystery, then you may have heard of the Jamison family. I feel like amongst, like true crime fans and people who are really into it, it's a fairly common one. But to people who aren't really into it or who are just getting into it, it's kind of a lesser known one. So hopefully we're meeting in the middle, and hopefully I can do it justice. All right. Sherilyn and Bobby Jamison meet in the summer of 2002 in Eufaula, Oklahoma. They quickly fell in love, and by 2004 they were expecting a daughter who they welcomed into the family and named Madison in the summer of 2004, shortly after marrying. By the time Bobby was 44, Sherilyn was 40, and little Madison was 6 years old, they had begun living off the grid and were looking to buy a 40-acre plot of land near Red Oak, which was around 30 miles from their home in Eufaula, Oklahoma. They would be moving near the Panola Mountain next to a small community who pride themselves on self-sufficiencies, like growing private crops, running off generators, septic systems, property wells, things like that. So exactly the fresh start that the Jamison family was looking for. Although the property that they were interested in didn't come with a house, their plan was to just relocate a storage container that they owned on their actual property, like their current property at the time, and then just relocate it to the new land that they are looking to buy. So, like I said, just a very simple life that they're wanting to lead. Like literally, they're just going to move into a storage container, essentially. So on the morning of October 8th, 2009, which is actually crazy because today is October 8th, 2024. So it's exactly 15 years from today. Or not from today. This is exactly 15 years later. That's crazy, actually. I did not plan that. Also, when you are watching this, it will not be the 8th. But anyway, on the morning of October 8th, 2009, the family packs up and heads to the new property. 10 days later, on October 18th, 2009, around 3 p.m., 2 hunters are hunting near Red Oak, and they come across a parked truck at the top of the Panola Mountain. Upon investigation, they discover a sickly dog, who later we will learn that this dog's name is Macy. The dog had been stuck in the truck for days with no food and no water. The truck was locked, so they see this dog through the windows. With no luck finding the abandoned truck or dog's owners, the hunters decide to call the Latimer County Sheriff's Office. The police find the truck, break down the glass, and free the dog, which, WTF, hunters. Like, you could have easily broke down the glass and let the dog out and then got the cops involved. Like, you shouldn't have left this dog up there. Anyway, I don't know how much time had passed, and maybe they stayed and looked after the dog while the cops were on the way. I don't know, but it's me. I'm coming across a sickly looking dog who's clearly probably dehydrated and malnourished. locked in a vehicle that's seemingly abandoned, it's the same reaction like if there's a baby in there. I am breaking in and removing the helpless creature, whatever it is. And we can get the facts all situated later. It's an emergency situation, in my opinion. Like, from that point, you know, it's not really like, oh, I'm breaking in to steal your TV. Like, no, I'm saving your dog. Anyway, the police find the truck, break down the glass, and free the dog. Upon searching the vehicle, police immediately conclude that something had gone wrong here. The police discover cell phones, a wallet, a purse, along with a bank bag full of money, $32,000 to be exact. Not to mention the dog. So surely whoever had left had planned on returning to reclaim all of these very valuable things. The truck is later identified as belonging to the Jamison family. Police believe that the family had either gotten lost or met foul play, although the foul play part seemed less likely because all the valuables I previously mentioned were all still here. Like, they're still fine inside the truck. You know, if they met foul play, you would think someone would take the truck or the wallets, the purse, definitely the bag of money if they discovered it, but it's all still there, just tucked away. The woods were dense, and so about 6 deputies began searching the surrounding area of the mountain. After questioning locals, they discovered no one had seen the family for roughly 8 to 10 days, really depending on which source. I saw multiple sources, and it's all around 8 to 10 day mark that no one had seen the Jamisons within, you know? So like their last sighting was within 8 to 10 days from when this truck is discovered. So the last person who was known to have seen them was just a local man who informed the police that he had actually ran into the Jamison family just like a few miles out. The Jamison family had gotten lost and stopped to ask him for directions. This information leads police to feel even more sure that they had just gotten lost. Because, I mean, if they were going to be lost while driving on a road, then it would be easy for them to get lost once they are up on the mountain in the dense woods. Despite it being October with cold evening weather, all 3 family members' coats were left abandoned inside the truck with the other items. This information brought with it the realization that if the Jamison family were lost, the police were running out of time. So the police began to look into the family and try to locate family and friends, wondering why, after what had been at least, we know, 8 days, no one had reported an entire family missing. But let's not forget that the Jamison family was trying to live off grid, right? So they were making regular efforts to live off the grid. And the police soon discover that they are also a very private family. They would go days, even weeks sometimes, without talking to any family and friends, and had recently pulled Madison out of school so that they could homeschool her once moved. On October 17th, 2009, cell phones from the truck are used to see if the Jamisons had moved around in the area with the cell phones prior to disappearing. Cell phone GPS confirmed the Jamisons had walked up the mountain. And while police are tracing their steps, they find little 6-year-old Madison's shoe prints along the way. Following these shoe prints, they are led to a rock, where the GPS shows the family stayed at for about 15 minutes. In fact, a picture of Madison at this rock was retrieved from one of the cell phones. So police began to think that the family was met with foul play for sure, since it's evident that they loaded up the truck with all the necessities and $35,000 cash, the family dog, you know, all of these things. Madison had toys, like all of these different items, but then go missing with all of it left locked inside the truck. Why load it all up if you're going to just purposefully disappear, right? Like, it's clearly something went wrong. It's not like a planned, we don't want anyone to find us kind of a thing. Like, why even bring the stuff? But then there's no signs of a struggle. No blood, no broken glass, no shoe prints suggesting any kind of a tussle outside in the dirt. I mean, how do 3 family members get essentially abducted? One of which is a grown man, and this happens without any sign of a struggle? It just doesn't add up. Police keep the truck taped off and continue going through the truck as it has many bags full of items, and they soon discover an 11-page letter written from Cheryl to Bobby, so from the wife to the husband. In the letter, she's expressing unhappiness and even discusses a possible divorce. Family and friends confirmed that the marriage the Jamisons shared was a strained one. They say that this was a major factor in the family going further off the grid, in hopes of it saving their marriage and avoiding a divorce. Bobby had actually battled depression after an accident left him unable to work and relying on medication that did nothing for his chronic pain, which, relatable. If you know, you know. Police also find out that Sherilyn owned a pistol that she apparently always kept inside the truck. But police had not recovered any pistol. Not from the truck, not from their home, not from any of the searches that were going on. Like, where was this pistol? So this is where people start speculating, like, say, since the Jamisons were fighting, one of them killed the other. They could have taken the pistol with them, right? But say it's a murder-suicide, which is typically what would happen in this scenario. One person can hide 2 bodies, but you can't really hide your body, you know, like yourself, when you kill yourself. And these are dense woods and a lot of ground to cover, but you will see that the searches just grow and grow, and it just becomes less and less likely that that is the scenario that played out. The family and friends also fill the police in on the Jamisons' state of mind. Cheryl and Bobby were big believers in the spirit world. They believed in spirits or angels, that they had been playing with little Madison, and the 6-year-old had also begun talking to these invisible entities. Whether this was due to the parental influences, we're unsure, but I mean, I would venture to guess yes. Like, kids have imaginary friends, but I would assume if mommy and daddy are always talking about spirits that you can talk to and angels that you can talk to, and you're seeing them left and right, the little girl's gonna start talking to herself too. But that is just my personal opinion. The Jamisons also believed that they had evil spirits, and that they had even gone as far as to ask their pastor if he knew of any special bullets that could kill these evil spirits. Guys, all I can do here is think of Sam and Dean Winchester, okay? If you know, you know. Like, it's not funny, this case isn't funny, but asking for special bullets that can kill a spirit is Supernatural. The show Supernatural. It's Sam and Dean. It's Sam and Dean. Sherilyn was also claiming to be a witch. She had apparently sprayed some walls, fences, buildings in the neighborhood with the saying, witches don't like their cats being killed. Because apparently she had a cat who had died, who she thought was murdered, and she was positive that some people, like just locals, had done it. because she was a witch, you know, like very like they don't like me because I'm different and they're taking it out on me and they killed my cat. I mean, people have done crazier things. Also, poor cat, either way, it died. Also, just a side note regarding beliefs in general, people have all kinds of beliefs. I have personal beliefs. You know, I have a strong faith. I definitely have a strong relationship with God. I also totally believe in ghosts. I totally believe in aliens. I have different beliefs. And I just, you know, feel like we need to respect each other's beliefs. Like, some people believe in nothing, and that's totally fine too. Like, these are people who are people. Like, it's not just a story. These are people with lives, and whether you believe they were really seeing something or you think they had some kind of mental illness or delusion or fantasy or whatever, they are 3 people who went missing. So let's just try to keep that in mind. Sherilyn had also been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and family and friends say that like many cases of bipolar, when she was good, she was great. I mean, she was happy and, you know, taking her medication and everything was good. But, of course, she would get better and then feel like she didn't need to take her medication, and then she would stop, and then things would go downhill quickly. And, mainly they would say that side effects of her not taking her medication would be like a lot of anger and, you know, more negative, which a lot of them think explains the 11-page letter that was found in the truck. Like, you know, a lot of friends and family are saying that that wasn't really her, that she wasn't this angry, bitter person. But I mean, you know, let's be real. Marriage is hard. And, I mean, even the best marriage in the world has struggles, and emotions can get high. And, you know, people say things out of anger, and that's just part of what makes us human. I mean, it's not the healthiest to say things that you don't mean out of anger, but you can be in an extremely healthy marriage, and emotions are going to get high when you're upset. 2 days after the truck is discovered, the fire department, along with the police department and locals, all collectively do a huge search of the mountain, with dogs and helicopters, news broadcasts, everything. The dogs do hit on a large water tank, but nothing is found in or around the tank. And the rough terrain makes the search really complicated, but I mean, this is important and everybody just powers through. On October 23rd, 2009, 7 days after the truck is discovered, police discover the Jamison's home has security cameras on the outside of the home. These cameras capture the family loading up the truck on the very last day. They discover, while going over this footage, that there is a brown briefcase that's taken to the truck, but that is not ever found in the truck. So it's seen, you know, as the family's loading all of their things up, the briefcase is in hand and is loaded into the truck, and they drive off. But then when the truck is found later, it's not accounted for. So everyone is like wondering, where is this briefcase? Like, is it with the gun? Do you know what I mean? Where's the briefcase? Where's the gun? Like, you know, there's like these little pieces that are kind of just making more questions and still no answers. Also, in this footage, it shows the Jamison couple. The daughter, Madison, is not seen in the footage, but the husband and wife are walking back and forth, loading the truck. kind of like passing each other. And there is just a lot of thoughts that people are saying. Just from viewing it, it looks like they are in almost like a trance state. They are not talking to each other. They're not looking at each other. They're just back and forth 20 times loading this truck. You know, they could have just been fighting, but there's just a lot of speculation. Is this more than that? Like, are they actually in like a trance, possession, that kind of thing, or even drugs? Maybe they're on something. I have to say that there must be footage that they have received, that they've cleared up for themselves or something, because all the footage of this that I found, it's not clear. Like, it's grainy and just not a fluent shot. So I don't really know how you can even tell which direction they're looking. But this is a big part of the like mystery of the case, and they actually get some leads that they follow from this video. So I feel like they must have a better video than what we, the public, have seen. Regarding the leads I was talking about that they get from this video, psychologists have reviewed the footage and say that drug use seems to be at play. So they're obviously not going to think it's spiritual. And, you know, one of the theories was that there's maybe someone off, out of view of the camera, that's kind of forcing them to do this. And that's why they're kind of robotic. But psychologists are saying that their professional opinion is drug use, which police feel only furthers their suspicion of a drug connection, because Oklahoma has a large meth problem, and would also give this possible explanation of the $32,000. I mean, you know, a drug deal gone bad, or, you know, even the briefcase missing. Like, it could be drugs, right? The police hadn't really released this detail yet at the time, but the $32,000 that was found could actually not even be tracked, because Sherilyn and Bobby were both unemployed and were only living off government checks. And so this money couldn't be traced, like, or tracked. The police had no idea where it came from, how the Jamisons obtained it. And this would explain the need for so many security cameras on the property. But friends and family completely refute this drug theory. They actually informed the police that the cameras were installed for Bobby's dad. He had been abusive and threatening to kill Bobby, and Bobby had actually filed for a protective order against him after he hit Bobby with his car in an attempt to kill him. So Bobby was fearful for his life for a good reason, and that is why they had so many security cameras on the property. The FBI ends up getting involved, and upon searching the home and the vehicle, there were no trace of drugs found on the property, in the home, or in the truck. In the end, investigators rule out mental health having anything to do with the disappearance. They also rule out murder, like the murder-suicide theory, and they also rule out drugs. And then they also rule out a theory that was kind of like short-lived, about a previous handyman that the Jamisons had hired and then subsequently run off after he made Sherilyn uncomfortable. So after all of these leads are followed and then ruled out, what is left? Like, they're either lost or foul play. That's it. The search was called off eventually, and the case just went cold. But on November 16th, 2013, so 4 years later, hunters again came across human remains. 3 sets, actually. 2 adults and a child. The remains were less than 3 miles away. Like, I think it was like 2.7 miles away from where the truck was abandoned. Along with the bones that were found, specifically it was 3 skulls and then also some other bones. But along with the bones that were found were a pair of shoes, adult clothing, and some teeth. The remains were confirmed to be the Jamison family. So this leads to the question, where were the bodies this whole time? Like, when the truck was discovered and they're having all of these searches done throughout the whole mountain, and, you know, they have the fire department and the police department and locals and dogs and all of these things, and the bodies weren't found, but then 4 years later they're less than 3 miles away from the truck. Hello? Upon examination of these remains, there could be no cause of death. There were no bullet marks or any kind of evidence that harm had been done to these bones. There were no bullet holes. And then, of course, there's no skin left on the bones. There's no blood. Like, too much time had passed. There's decaying. They're out in the elements. 4 years later, there's animals. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing left on the bones. There was just no cause of death. I mean, it is listed as suspicious, but that's it. Like, it's not listed as a murder, homicide, suicide. It's just suspicious. So, here are some theories that are going around. Then we'll go from there. Like, you know, I'll give you a little of what I think did happen. And then you guys can leave in the comments what you think was most probable. First theory is that they just got lost. Like I said, they were lost while they were in a vehicle on a road. So when they're on foot outside of the vehicle, it would be a lot easier to get lost, which a lot of people speculate that they would even get out. Like, it was like they were forced out of the truck because all of their belongings were left inside, which I don't really think is the thing. Like, you can, you know, you're going to just walk around a little bit. There's no one around. You're going to leave your purse and whatever in the car, you know? Like, you don't think you're going to need it. The theory is either A, because like I was saying, they just didn't know their way around and got lost, or B, because they were under the influence of something and were lost and just couldn't find their way back. And then in this scenario, the elements just get to you, you know? It's October. You have no food, no water. You don't know how to get back to the truck. And it's freezing. So that's one theory. The second is a murder-suicide. But with this theory, it's like, where is the gun? Or whatever you would use, you know? Like, the only way this would work is if it wasn't really a suicide, it was just a murder. But then the third party, whether it was her or him, would take the money in the truck and everything, or at least some of it. I don't know. It's just very confusing. So yeah, like, where would the gun be, right? If it's a murder-suicide, say the wife kills the husband and the daughter, she's going to kill herself. Where? And where's the weapon? It's just never found. And then there is the theory that it's mental illness, that they were mentally ill and they just weren't thinking clearly and decided that it would be a good idea to go and leave everything behind. Or also spirits, possession. That's some theories going around on Reddit, something like that. And then the most popular is that they were targeted. So whether it's by the dad or the handyman that I mentioned, but that was like really easily dismissed by the cops, you know what I mean? Like he was questioned and then let go fairly quickly. Like it just didn't pan out. But theory wise, it could have been the dad, it could have been the handyman, it could have been like a drug cartel or something that they were into. And so they were targeted and killed, like followed up there and then killed, or forced to go up there, you know, like someone was outside of view of the cameras and then they're killed out there. But again, the money. Why wouldn't you take the money? I get it if you don't want to take their credit cards, you know, and be traced, but this is cash that they can't, the police can't even trace anyway. Why wouldn't you take the money? I don't know. It's just a lot of questions and really no answers. But also no gun. The gun that everyone swore she kept in her car at all times is missing. The briefcase that they were seen putting into the truck on camera is missing, was never located. So it's just a lot of questions and really no evidence pointing to any one thing. So that is why this case is such a mystery. So I think most likely what would have happened is foul play. I feel like, I don't know details, of course. Like, I don't know for what reason this could have happened. I don't think they were into drugs. I feel like they probably had the cash because they were going to buy land, or, you know, I don't know. They were trying to live off the grid. They carried a lot of cash. They don't want to be using credit cards. To me, it doesn't like say drugs. The biggest part about that would say drugs is the fact that it's like unable to be traced back. Like, how did they get this money? But they could have been just, you know, hoarding it over time. I mean, they've been trying to live off the grid for a while now. So I don't know. There's too many questions. It's a lot. But personally, I feel like they were just a normal family trying to live off the grid, trying to live their life, and they met with foul play of some kind, which could explain why the gun is gone and the briefcase is gone, because where else would those items be? It doesn't explain why the person wouldn't have robbed them and taken everything, you know, and at least let the freaking dog go. But I mean, at the same time, maybe they didn't go back to the truck. Maybe they, you know, saw the wallet and stuff, but don't want to get caught with credit cards, you know, getting tracked. And they didn't know the bag of money was in the truck. I mean, this truck had a lot of stuff, like bags of like toys and clothes and all kinds of stuff. Like, they were loaded up. So, you know, it'd be easier if you were just like a passerby trying to do something with this family, that you didn't know that they had this bag of money in the truck. I could see that happening. Also, it would make sense why the briefcase is gone. Like, maybe they thought the briefcase was full of something important. Maybe it really was. And they killed them and took the briefcase. We will never know what was even in the briefcase unless it's found somehow, sometime, somewhere in the future. But yeah, it's really mysterious. There's just so many things pointing so many different directions. It's like, who knows? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and please leave comments what you guys think. It'll also just help with my videos if you are leaving comments. Like, subscribe, that would be amazing. Turn on notifications, would be great. I really am most interested in hearing if you guys are liking this segment. Like I said the last video, if you are, I am really interested in making it a permanent thing instead of just this that I'm doing for spooky season. So yeah, just give me some feedback and don't be too harsh, constructive criticism is great, but don't just be a hater. Like, I'm trying this out, and I'm obviously not a professional, and I'm trying to get better. So just give some grace, and I'll see you next time. Bye.